Yo, it's your boy back again with another one. Recovery, where we just don't look for recovery, we go hunt for that, no matter where it is, no matter how far, no matter where we gotta go. With my homegirl Haley here, and she gonna tell her story. Say hi.
Hi.
She gonna tell her story about, hey, don't be talking about my mustache either. Made a mistake and had to shave it off, so I probably look funny. But anyway, back to, you know what I'm saying, she gonna tell her story about her recovery and her past or whatever she wanna talk about, it's her video, her story. So when you start, doing, drugs or alcohol or whatever.
When I was about 17, I fell into like an addiction because I basically came from a sheltered home, taken from my biological parents and everything, put in foster care. And then I basically turned 17 and was tired of living the way I was in my family. So I ran away and then I dove headfirst into the world blindsidedly and got with a guy and per se like made a few bad decisions. Didn't know what drugs or alcohol were at the time. I didn't know what any of it was. I thought marijuana was a drug. That was it. And then found out real quick that that's not only what a drug is. And then very quickly did I find out how addicting all the substances were and stuff. And as I went, like, I got sober for a few years, got back off of it, got back on it. It was a rough, rocky roller coaster. And then I ended up finding out I was pregnant and quit cold turkey. And then fucking basically, after I ended up getting pregnant and staying sober for a minute, I ended up getting with the wrong guy again and landed myself back into addiction. Lost my daughter and fought for her for 3 years and made the best decision for her at the time because I was young and not prepared to be a mom per se. And she's still healthy and happy, and I still see her and talk to her, and I'm involved in her life. And when she's older, she'll come to me when she's ready. And when that time comes, I will talk to her about it. But after she was born and all that went down, I continued my addiction, and then I got out of my addiction for a minute and ended up pregnant with my second child and was sober for a while after that. And then I ended up leaving my child's father due to abusive relationship and toxic stuff. And I wanted my daughter to grow up in a healthy home and not like that. I wanted her to see me loved correctly or not at all. And as I went, it was a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. So I ended up slipping back into addiction because it was the easiest way out, the easy coping mechanism that I had taught myself by the time I was 17, basically, to cope with everything was to get high. So when I ended up doing that, I ended up slipping in and out of it, staying sober for a while, and then going back into it. But I was still able to be a mom and take care of my daughter. And then I lost my best friend and my cousin a month apart, and they were like my solid rocks in my life at the time. And when I lost them, I lost myself. And I started stumbling further and further down that dark path of addiction and then not giving a fuck. And it went from hurt and depression to anger and just being mad at the entire world. And when I got mad at the world, it basically was fuck everybody and everything at that point, and made me make a few decisions that weren't the best. And it led down the road of making that one decision to putting my daughter in a car and not having a car seat and getting pulled over, and I got my kid took, and now I'm fighting to get her back, and I'm doing everything I need to. And it's taken a few slips here and there because being an addict, it's going to cause that. You're going to have those moments when you are going to get high, or you're going to have a slip up. If you don't have a slip up, you're not an addict. If you don't have a slip up or a mess up, then you're not human. And it's hard to admit that sometimes. It's hard to accept that there's going to be times that you're going to mess up and you're going to have a setback. But you just got to tell yourself that's what it is a setback. You don't let it overtake your life at that point. You just keep pushing. You take that setback and you pick it up and dust off and keep going. And that's what I've had to do a couple times already. I had ended up slipping up after I lost my daughter this time, and I went full force into addiction again, and ended up in jail. But before I did that, I had been begging for help through recovery and trying to get into rehab, and nobody would help me. And I guess God had other plans for me at that time, and He knew that I wasn't per se ready as I thought I was. And when I went down that path, I ended up going to jail, sat for 30 days, and that was the first 30 days of my entire life that I sat there. And in the 3 years since my daughter had been born, didn't get to hear her voice, didn't get to see her face, and didn't get to see or talk to her, know anything about her. And that opened my eyes to see that I don't want to live my life without my daughter. And if that was the path I was going to keep going down, that was going to be what it was going to end up. I was not going to be able to be a part of my daughter's life like I wanted to be. And that in essence made me change the way I looked at everything. And when I got out of jail, I did what how the saying goes: change people, places, and things. It's a real fucking thing, and I didn't believe it for the longest time. Thought I could keep the same people around and just be sober. Thought I could still go around the same places and I'd still be able to be strong enough to be sober. It's not that. It's a mindset. It's the way you think, the way you act, and where you're at. And when you change all those things, you can change basically anything about yourself. And when I changed those places, I cut everybody off that was in my past. I cut off all the people that basically, when I was in jail, I had nobody that took care of me except for my dad. And nobody cared that I was in jail. Nobody checked to see where I was. Nobody gave a fuck. And if nobody gave a fuck when I was in jail, why should they care when I'm out of jail? Mm-hmm. And so I cut off everybody that cut me off when I had to go do that little 30 days in jail. And when I got out, I got on the right path. I got my own place. I started a program for women and children and families, basically, to have a place to have a transitional spot for them to reunify with their kids. And I'm making big changes in my life that I never thought I would have made, honestly. Like, I'm working so hard on getting my daughter back. I've accomplished goals that most statistically women do not accomplish in that amount of time, as they say. But I'm not just a statistic, and I don't want to just be a statistic. I want to make a difference, and I want to be something that changes this world in some way. But all it takes is one spark to start a flame that can start a fire, that can start a whole change. And that's how I look at it, instead of looking at the bigger things that could be possibly overwhelming and harder to accomplish. I'm focusing on the now and who I could help now in the moment. And if I don't change this world, at least I made a difference in one person's life, and that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said you wouldn't know what to say. That's why I'm laughing. But you did good though. So will you tell them what you think about having a man? Like, did that stop you from your?
Many times I have a codependent disorder, basically. Like, I have a problem with being codependent when a male comes into my life. But when I'm away from that male and I get that moment that I need to be able to survive on my own, I'm very strong-willed and determined and independent, and I can strive to do things that I never could do with a man because I'm too reliant on trying to make them happy instead of trying to put myself first. And this is the first time in my life I've ever focused on actually putting myself first, and it's changed a whole lot of things. It's changed the way I looked at people, it changed the way I looked at myself, changed the way I put myself through things. So I just recently left a relationship, and it was hard to leave it at first. I just kept going back and forth with it because I didn't want to hurt him and I didn't want to hurt myself. But at the same time, he was removed from my life for a certain minute, and he had to go to jail or whatever, do his time. And that time that he was away, I guess it was God basically giving me that push to show me that, look, you can do this shit on your own. You're doing it on your own right now. You got your own shit. You can keep doing it. You don't need somebody. And when he got out, I gave him that option to be in my life, but he chose to keep going the other direction. I said basically, either I'm gonna focus on myself and my child and getting her back, and if you love me, you're gonna understand that, and you're gonna be by my side, or you're gonna go do your own thing. And when he left, it hurt a little bit, but then I was just like, honestly, it's for the best, because when I'm focused on myself, that's what it needs to be, is really focusing on myself and my daughter. And that's what I'm doing. And honestly, being with a man was causing me to lack on certain things that I needed to be fully aware for. And instead of being halfway there or halfway going to class or halfway doing this or that because I was too focused on whether he was mad at me or upset with me or something like that. And I'm not saying anything bad about him or anything like that. It was just the way I think, the way my brain's programmed to work in a relationship. And it was causing me to have setbacks. And right now I need to have the biggest open mind I possibly can that's able to flourish and basically focus on the things that are positive. And
so how hard? So he was still in his addiction, right?
Yeah.
And you was trying to get clean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, how hard was it? I'm just saying, just for like the girls, the women out there that
Honestly, it was really difficult to stay sober. I mean, he wasn't ever just like trying to hand it to me or anything. He was against me trying to use or anything like that. But no matter how much a person tells you no on using, if you want to use, you're going to use.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to go and do something like that, you're going to. And it makes it harder to have that person that's supposed to be by your side, sober, doing it with you, not on the same page as you.
So did he ever have it around you?
Yeah. And honestly, like, I don't want to put nobody else's business out there. So, like, people who know me or whatever, you know who it was. But, like, he did his own thing. And I respect how he would tell me no. But then at the same time, he should have respected the way I was sober and not had it around me, period. But
right, because that's what I was trying to get at. I mean, I don't know him or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, the point of, like, him having it around you had it been hard seeing that. You know what I mean?
It was very hard and very tempting. Or when somebody would ask me to go grab a bag for them or something like that, it was even harder because it was like, damn, like, I'm in my soberness. You guys are all telling me thank you and good job and you're doing great, but you're advertising me to do the same thing that you're telling me I'm doing a good job for not doing. Like, it's a contradiction, and it was hard to basically keep going sometimes, but I'm strong-willed and I pushed through that. I did have my moments where I relapsed and I potentially fucked up, but it wasn't his fault. It was my own choices and my own decision, but it didn't help that it was around me. And honestly, but he says that he's sober now and he's on his path. So if that's what it took for us to split up and do our own thing and for him to get sober, then I'm happy for him and I'm happy for his sobriety. And I hope that he flourishes and does great in it. Mm-hmm. But right now I'm focusing on myself and my kids, and that's what I'm going to stick to.
And that's probably, that's what they say, when you, recovery is a selfish program, you know what I mean?
And this is the first time I've ever been honestly selfish in my life, like, other than stupid shit, but like, honestly putting myself first and being able to put my foot down and say I need to focus on this right now and take that time for myself. It's putting a whole different outlook on my life. Like, honestly, I'm happier. I'm not per se happy, but I'm okay with being okay right now. I'm okay with the recovery process. I'm okay with knowing that I'm at that stage. I'm 5 months clean, that I'm at that stage where it's too early to be able to go around people and do all that stuff to know that I could possibly have a relapse, and it's so easy for that relapse to come. But it's also just far enough into my recovery that I know that I can do it and I can keep going if I'm determined to. But at the same time, I have to keep those boundaries up and keep those people at bay where they're at and not let that boundary down. Because when I do, that's when temptation and all that stuff's going to come in and I'm going to potentially relapse. I'm not going to say I'm not potentially, I will relapse, basically. Because it's not a might or might not thing at that point. I'm only 5 months in. It's an early recovery, but like, I'm just enough in to be recovered, but I'm not enough in to be fully recovered, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. So my other thing is, like, how do you, like, okay, because you in our class and stuff, you know what I mean? But you're not court bound. You know what I'm saying? You're just in there for the CPS or whatever, right?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I understand that I was supposed to do that shit, but I never did.
Like, I don't have to go if I don't put my kid back and stuff like that. I don't have to cooperate with CPS, but I will love my daughter and I want everything. I want to be a part of her life in every way, and I want to be a part of it in a healthy way. I want to be the healthiest mom I can be, and I want to be a positive mom. I want to be able to make that life where me and my daughter can be comfortable, where we can have that stability of knowing that mom's got it, mom's going to take care of it, and she's going to be able to go to college and stuff like that, and I don't have to worry about it. And it may not be right now that I have all that stuff, but I know being sober is the first step into making that process happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I also am trying to start programs, and in order for me to start these programs I want to do to help others, I have to be sober in order to do that.
Well, what kind of programs are you trying to start, you know?
So like the recovery and reunification housing for women, transitional housing for women, and families trying to reunificate with the kids. It's not just for family, or not just for women, it's for families too. So it's like a boarding house, but for families and children to be able to have that stepping stone before the reunification process is final, basically for overnights and unsupervised visits and parenting time with kids, so that if you are potentially homeless or don't have a place to go, their DHS can help you get into the housing so that you do have that spot and that option to be able to move further ahead. But you have to also be able to maintain your own rent after a certain time and be able to maintain those things that normally they would want you to maintain, and eventually get into an apartment so that you can get your kids back. It's it's gonna be a work, it's gonna be a job, and it's not gonna be easily handed to somebody just to get your kid back. But it's a stepping stone that's a positive one to be able to make the right decision and prove that you want your kid back, basically. And then my other program that I'm trying to start right now is a hands-on recovery program for people that are maybe ADHD or have a disability to where they can't just sit still in class for 3 hours. Because sometimes it doesn't work for everybody. Everybody's different, and there's different approaches to recovery that there can be made. And I feel like there should be a hands-on one, because maybe an autistic person can't sit in the class for 3 hours. Mm-hmm. Maybe somebody who is mentally impaired that it does have a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction can't just sit there and listen to somebody and get the knowledge that they need. Maybe they need a hands-on activity or something that's recovery based, or something that's circled around recovery that can help you recover in a different way than just listening to a speech or listening to people talk, because not all the people are able to do that.
Right, absolutely. And that's what you run a house like that now, right? You just trying to open your own house up, right?
Well, this is the house that I run, and
but this is
it's through DHS, but the hands-on recovery program is something separate from that. I want to do that maybe per se not at a building or something, but I just want to start a program. It's like just a center. Yeah, it's just thoughts on paper right now, but it's in the work process of starting. I just got to find the right connects to get there.
Well, go ahead and tell them like where your spot is or whatever, just in case anybody out there watching that's live in Jackson.
So the transitional recovery unification housing for families is on Stewart Ave in Jackson. If you go up to DHS and ask them to refer you, they will refer you to my aunt, who can get you into this place, and they will pay for, I think, up to the first 5 or 6 weeks of your rent, and then after that you have to be able to get a job and keep up the payment or whatever, and it's all up to you after that. It's up to you to get in the right shoes to keep that payment up, and once you keep that payment up, DHS will help you get a apartment or something like that, possibly. I don't know exactly how that part works, because I'm currently on the process myself. I'm currently in my own progress of recovery at the same time as running in the same place that I'm trying to help other people. Mm-hmm. So I'm not just on the outside above it trying to stand in and look and just tell people how to do it. I'm actually going through the process just like you guys. Like, I'm working through the program while running the program, if that makes sense.
Right, which is good. That's why they say it's good to help other people. It probably make you feel good and keep you focused to help people.
It does. It gives me a positive motivation to know that I'm not alone in the process, but I can also help others that are in my same shoes that may not be exactly at the same point I am in my recovery or my spot that I'm at in my reunification with my child, but it'll give them that strength or that courage to know that there's somebody just like them and that they can do it too. Or it could do the opposite effect, but I'm hoping that it does the positive effect for the majority of people, but there's some negative people out here that it just won't work for. But everybody's their own person. If it works for you, I'm happy. If it don't, hopefully you find something that does.
Right, absolutely. So that's a good thing. That's a good positive thing. So I think you're doing good out here, right?
Yeah, I have my moments when I'm not doing so hot, but then I always just look at pictures of my daughter or think about this program or think about the fact that I'm could be homeless on the streets with nothing. And I
Mm-hmm.
just think of the positive things that are keeping me going, and that's what keeps me going through the day.
Definitely. So the whole point, the reason why I wanted her to come on here is for the women out there that's in recovery. Like I said, my channel, this channel is not just for people in recovery. It's for people that want to get in recovery. You know what I mean? And her story, you know, she's been through a lot, and she made it through, and she's staying strong. So if she can do it, then y'all can do it too. You know what I mean? And that's real talk.
Now, I've come from all different aspects. I came from being straight up sheltered to where I didn't know shit to diving in a head first to selling drugs to running the streets with all the drug addicts to using to basically being homeless with nowhere to go, being a mom that's struggling, being a mom that's lost her kid and got and working on getting her back, being a mom that's in the process of basically recovering from everything that she had as a child that happened. Like I
Trauma.
I
Yeah.
can relate with a lot of the stuff that a lot of different women can go through, and that a lot of women have gone through, I should say. And I don't judge nobody for who they are. Everybody's story is different, but they make you who you are. You're unique, and just because you've been through something doesn't mean you can't become something better. Like no
Mm-hmm.
matter what you go through in life, it's your choice to make that decision to make yourself happy again or to live a better life. No matter what the darkest thing is you've been through, you can still make it a positive if you find some way to find something positive to focus on.
Yeah.
And if you find that thing to focus on that's positive, you can get through anything.
Definitely, you definitely can. So, you know, I just want to bring her on here and let her tell her story. We want to thank her for being on the channel and telling her story. You know what I'm saying? That's a positive story. Hopefully that, you know, it taught y'all, you know, gave y'all some hope that, you know what I'm saying? And that's the whole point. You know, just give women out here, or not even just women, whoever, you know what I mean, out here to let y'all know that we all struggling out here, we all doing it. But as long as we stay strong, we can do it. So we want to thank her for coming on here. That was awesome. And y'all already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button up top. Put them comments down below if y'all got some questions for Halee. You feel me? I'll tell her we in the same class. You know what I'm saying?
We're coming through this recovery together.
Right, exactly. So I'll let her know all y'all questions. But even if y'all put the comments on there, she can check them out anyway, because you can read my comments anyway.
And the biggest part about recovery is no matter who you are or what you're going through, support each other. That's the biggest thing you can do is support each other in recovery. Regardless of if you're covered or not, or if you're in the process of going to recovery, support each other. That's the biggest thing, and no matter what you do, is the support that's around you.
Yeah, then that's for real though. Like we gotta support each other. We gotta have each other back. That's for real. Because this process ain't easy. It ain't easy at all.
It's a long process too. It's gonna be a long, hard road, and you can't just give up after the first few times that you slip up, because if you do, you ain't gonna make it and shit. You gotta have that determination, that mindset to keep pushing regardless. Mm-hmm. And you know, I've fallen and slipped up 10,000 times and thought I could never do it, thought I could never get past that. And look at me, I'm doing it.
Thriving now. So
and it feels good to have those people walk up to you, or people that you don't think notice you, come up to you and tell you they're proud of you, or somebody that you don't even know that's like, I'm proud of how far you've come. Like, to see that they've watched your progress of how far you've come. I had my social worker, my caseworker's supervisor come up to me and tell me that she was proud of me and that she's watched my progress from the time I lost my first daughter till now. And she said that's a huge difference. Like, she's like, your whole attitude has changed. And she's like, I'm proud of you and I want you to keep going. She said, don't give up. Just keep going and making a better life for yourself. And I said, that's what I want. And I want to help people along the way, like, because I want people to know that they can recover no matter what. Like, I've been down in the depths of fucking despair with nowhere to go and nobody to turn to. I've never felt accepted nowhere I've been, and now I'm feeling finally a little bit whole. I feel like I'm wanted. I feel like I'm okay a little bit with myself, even if I'm not wanted.
Yeah, and you can do it. Just like everybody else, like all y'all. So you already know what I always say. I'm proud of y'all. Y'all doing great. Super, super proud of y'all. Y'all keep the good work up. keep that fight going, yo. Put them comments down below, hit that like button, turn on the post notifications. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have her on here again, you know, to tell a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So when we drop a video, boom, you already know.
And every day is a new day. No matter what happened yesterday, wake up tomorrow with a positive attitude, ready to go.
Yep, for sure. That's 100%. But we love y'all, and we gonna check y'all later. Peace.